We gonna make it through the history of anatomy and try to stay alive. Let's start the journey. The history of anatomy is rooted deeply into the past. 3,000 years ago, physicians in Egypt treated patients with herbs, salts, magic, and faith. Ancient Egyptians were known to use honey as medicine. The Greek physician Hippocrates, who lived years 460 to 375 before Christ, is considered the father of medicine. He formed a code of ethics for all physicians, and urged them to stop linking diseases to God's or Satan's will, and start searching for their natural reasons. Even today, graduating medical students recite Hippocrates' oath. Aristotle, who lived years 384 to 322 before Christ, was one of the first philosophers to write about anatomy and physiology. He believed that all diseases are caused either by natural or supernatural causes, which he called physiology and theology. The name physician comes precisely from that term. One of his best ideas was also the idea that all complex structures consist of smaller components. Not bad for an ancient philosopher. Claudius Galen, who lived years 130 to 200, was a Roman physician. He wrote the most influential book of the ancient epoch. Dissecting people was prohibited at that time, so Galen dissected animals to study anatomy and learned from treating gladiators' wounds. He persisted that scientists should question and hesitate in everything, including his own studies, and tried to check everything by his observations and experiments. Nevertheless, educators taught his anatomy without question for about 1,500 years. In the Christian Middle Ages, the Church repressed science until the 16th century. Most famous medical schools were founded at that time, but their professors taught mostly dogmatic medicine of Galen and Aristotle. Medieval medical illustrations were decorating the books, rather than depicting the anatomical structures precisely. Medicine was still mixed with alchemy, astrology, and theology. In the Muslim Middle Ages, the most prominent medical scholar was Avicenna, living years 980 to 1037. He studied Aristotle and Galen and combined their studies with his own discoveries. Thanks to him, Middle Eastern medicine soon became better than European. His book The Canon of Medicine became the Bible of medical students for the next 500 years. Chinese and Indian medicine had little impact on European whatsoever. But it deserves our thorough attention, so we will cover it in our future videos. Andreas Vesalius, living years 1514 to 1564, an anatomy teacher from Italy, is considered a father of modern medicine. In his time, the Church relieved the prohibition of cadaver dissection, and the Italian Renaissance created a good atmosphere for scientific research. He was the first to introduce exact medical illustrations in anatomy teaching. His book De Humani Corporis Fabrica started a tradition of precise and explanatory pictures, which was succeeded by Gray's Anatomy. The philosophers Francis Bacon and René Descartes, who lived in the 16th century in England and France, created an idea that science should be treated systemically and not be given to lone individuals. In the time of their existence, English and French science academies were established, which prosper till this very day. That time gave birth to the scientific method, used till today to drive all branches of science forward. Robert Hooke, living years 1635 to 1703, an English scientist, invented the microscope. Though microscopes existed before, he made some essential constructive changes like the stage for specimen, illuminator, and a focus. He was the first man to name cells, the building blocks of our organism. Hooke microscope's image was blurred and distorted. In the 19th century, German scientific instrument maker Carl Zeiss improved the microscope to boost biology research drastically. His fellow citizens, botanist Matthias Schleiden and zoologist Theodor Schwann, concluded that all organisms were composed of cells and became the fathers of cell theory. Subscribe to our channel to see more educational videos like this. If you would like to support us, visit our online store, or perhaps become our patron.